The world of independent perfumery. It's kick-ass. We're talking about artists, artisans that have no particular ties to a brand. They don't have a boss breathing down their neck. They don't have, a multi-million-dollar corporation saying, hey, you can and can't do this. We only want you to use this. You can't, go and spend this money. We want you to keep it under this amount of money, blah, 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 blah. What I love about independent perfumery is that it's artistic and it's like no holds barred. And that to me is what fragrance and perfumery should be all about. I love it. Hopefully you love it. Grab some popcorn, post up if you like, grab a seat here next to me on the couch, because tonight I'm going to introduce you to January Scent Project. Welcome to the couch. Hey, what's cracking YouTube? Welcome to DaVinci's Alchemyst. Subscribers, how's it going? New viewers, good to see you here. Why don't you stick around to the end of the video? If you feel like it, hit that subscribe button and continue to join me on my journey of fragrance. So this will technically be episode 2 in this series that I want to do, that I'm referring to as Welcome to the Couch. Basically, I want to do like these house overviews, bringing you guys into my world, into some of the different houses that I've been smelling, trying, testing, sampling, all that sort of good shit, turning you guys on to the information that you may not necessarily already have about these different perfume houses, kind of what they're about, and definitely what they have to offer. So the topic of tonight's conversation is January Scent Project. The perfumer, owner, and all-around head chief of January Scent Project is a gentleman by the name of John Biebel. Now he is also a freelance writer for Fragrantica. He's an artist. I briefly met him in New York at Scent Explore. It was just kind of a handshake. Hey, how's it going? I'm highly introverted when it comes to big news situations, so I was kind of like a clamshell the entire evening. Would have, now knowing where I'm at, I would have loved to have actually picked his brain a little bit, maybe next time, John. But I finally pulled the trigger on getting the Discovery Kit, and it's a beautiful Discovery Kit, as you see. It's well thought out. What's really great about this particular fragrance house is that John ties in these wonderful visual art cards that are all about the different fragrances. You can see that they're really well color matched, they're thematic, super awesome, neat little touch. He signs a nice little personalized card. Really love this about independent perfumers, that they really actually put a lot of their soul and their personality and their kindness and their artistry into what it is that they're doing. So before we break off into the fragrances, I'm just going to kind of go, a brief overview, give you guys a little bit of what I am noticing. And because some of these I'm going to want to do probably full bottle reviews of. I know that there's definitely 3 in here that I'm buying once my No Buy July lift has occurred, but definitely all of them are artfully done. There is a little bit of a theme, at least to me. Maybe it's just my nose. I don't know that Mr. Biebel intended to actually do this, but all of the fragrances to me have this kind of vaporous DNA, this very lifting, ethereal, as Chris would say, Hesperitic sort of feel to it. Bubbly, airy, almost ghost-like. Not to say that they aren't dense and stick around for a long time, because they do. Now, these test strips that I have, the blotters, they have been sprayed yesterday at 3:30. It is now 4 o'clock, so they've been sitting on there for 24 hours, and all of them are still pretty potent. And that's saying something for the quality of this juice. As a disclaimer, I am probably going to butcher the names of these fragrances worse than I would butcher a surgery on half of a fifth of whiskey, but I'm gonna give it a shot. So this first one is Selpernikoo. Now, there's like a nice blue theme with this one. As you can see, it has this wonderful corresponding card. On this 24-hour dry down, I get this nice kind of fruity, woody base. When you go into the spray on this, the opening notes, there's some nice bright petitgrain, somewhat green. Immortelle tends to peek through on it a little bit for me. It has this very milky sort of accord. This is a super unique fragrance. It's not like anything I've tried before. This is on my to-buy list. That is Selpernikoo. The second fragrance is called Smolder Rose. Didn't screw that one up, did I, guys? This is a very interesting take to me on what I kind of interpreted as, a rose oud combo. Don't know how much oud there actually is in this. I'm getting a lot of leather in the dry down. And this kind of jammy rose stays throughout into the dry down as well. On the spray, Get a nice little apple, which I don't think is actually listed in the note. There's a little bit of bergamot brightness. There's something very substantial and structural. I know that seashells is noted in the note breakdown on this, and that's probably what that kind of structural denseness that I'm getting. The leather is a nice like brown fringed leather jacket, like those old 60s style jackets, you know what I'm talking about? This is a really interesting. Like I said, it has kind of that similar grouping as, you know, like the rose, oud combos, but it takes it to a completely different level, this one. Dig it. Not bad at all. The third one is Denudizit. Denudizit? I'll show you on the screen. Now this is kind of an aquatic fragrance. In this dry down, I do get the note of cologne. It's real subtle and mellow. It's not super cloying, so can't say that I would actually own a bottle of this just because me and aquatics don't get along very well. On the spray, right out of the gate, getting a decent little bit of bergamot, and some narcissus and jasmine is definitely in the mix with that. And I get kind of like a fennel spice, like not like the spice, but if you take a fennel stalk and you cut off all the little leafy bits and you're chopping into it for cooking or whatever, that's what I get, is like this kind of fennel, plant. That's the green sort of licorice, sort of note that I'm getting. The cologne does not stick out in the opening on this, but it definitely peeks its head through the life of the fragrance. It's not bad. It's a really interesting one. If you like aquatics, you should check this one out. Denudizit. Denudizit. Fourth fragrance in the line is called Sarin. Now this is definitely very incensey, very kind of slightly smoky vibe going on with it. Again, that kind of vaporousness really peeks through in this, but it brings this smoky accord with it for the base. Now on the opening spray, there's definitely kind of a resinous feel. To me, stands out as like frankincense. There's this sort of airy sweetness, that ghostly, whispery, vaporous accord that I get out of every single one of these fragrances is really intense in this one. And I kind of get this vibe of like when I was a kid, you get up dandelions and stuff and you crush them all, make your hands all yellow, and it's that kind of green crushed dandelion flower vibe. Super interesting. Again, I don't think this one's really my cup of tea, however, but it's definitely different, and I really do dig that about it. That is Sarin. This next one is called Vaporo Syndro. Now this has a very kind of powdery, some slight florals. At this point with the 24-hour, this one is the least lasting. I'm not getting a whole hell of a lot out of this. Oh yeah, very creamy, very green and peppery. A little bit of lilac, decent amount of lilac actually. Bitter, but not bitter like shitty bitter, not bad bitter. Bitter in kind of a pleasant way. I don't know if that makes any sense to you or not, but that's kind of what I get out of it. It's very to the forefront. It has that floral / green leafy part of that flower also element to it. That bitter accord that I'm getting out of it is actually, it reminds me of like if you bite into an apple too far and you get the seed and you bite the seed and you get that little bit of kind of woody bitterness that's slightly sweet from that. That's kind of what that is to me anyway. That's Vaporo Syndro, and like I said, it's interesting. It's airy again. It's vaporous. That's the only word that I can really think to use for it. But again, not like anything I've ever tried before. Not 100% sure how this would translate to me on skin, but hey, I got a bunch more juice in this bottle, so I'm gonna try that out because I'm intrigued by this one. Number 6. So this one is called Either Antler. Not trying to put a German spin on it, but that's just where my brain goes. It's nice green juice, and it's definitely, interestingly enough, in the dry down, there's not a lot of green value to it, but it's kind of powdery, kind of ambery and musky in the 24-hour dry down. I dig it. I really do dig the dry down on this, and it has almost kind of a like a slightly floral element as well. I equate it to kind of woody lavender texture. Let's go ahead and go with the opening spray. What I get out of this is a nice lime custard, like key lime pie. That's kind of what I'm getting out of it. It's really fresh. It's kind of piney in a way, a little bit, in the background. I know that elemi is, it's like a resin. It's in the note breakdown, and I'm getting that a little bit. Probably picking up on the pink pepper that I know is in the note breakdown. And this is really great. I really love the fresh sort of lime texture that it has in the opening, and the way that it kind of meshes with the woods and like the ambery texture that I'm getting out of it. This one's one of my favorite ones out of this line, and I am extremely excited about testing it out on my skin. If it does well, I'm definitely buying a bottle of it. So again, that is Either Antler. So now we're down to the final fragrance in the line. I do want to encourage you guys to go to the website. I will link it down below in the description of this video. They don't just have, you know, these 7 fragrances at all time. I did notice that Mr. Biebel does do some, you know, like limited edition fragrances. Like, I think there was one that he only did 5 bottles of. There's one right now that's actually, I think it's the EDP, or rather the extrait version. Sorry, I think most of these are actually EDP. Yes, they are. It is an extrait, or actually just a parfum version of Selpernikoo, and hand-painted boxes, that sort of stuff. Just really, really classy, kind of, you know, limited edition stuff. It looks really, really neat. Definitely a way, you know, for a fragrance enthusiast to get into something that makes them feel like they have something that nobody else will ever have ever again. So all that set aside, as I'm babbling, let's talk about the final fragrance, which is Bervuvu. Bervuvu. Okay, so this one definitely caught my attention. The juice is just deliciously dark, which I'm a fan of. There is definitely patchouli in this, which I'm also a huge fan of. And the dry down is woody. You get the patchouli. I get slight little bit of like damp earth soil type of a feel. And, you know, for me, there is also like this kind of leathery note that's involved as well. This just ticks so many boxes for me being a lover of super dark, intense fragrances. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this another spray. Yeah, oh, it's just, there's so much going on in this. Again, I really, really do love this. There is that, you know, damp earth feeling out of this. It's kind of like being in a particular section of the woods. Now, I don't want to steer you to think that it's like super piney or anything like that, because that's not the gist that I get out of it anyway. But there is this sort of hint of forest after a rain. But during a very particular time of the year, we're talking, you know, into the fall, the deep time when there's a lot of decay that's going on. Not funky decay, just that sort of mushroomy quality, which I know that that's one of the listed notes in this, so that makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. But I get this kind of eucalyptus plant vibe. Now, I'm pretty sure anyway that it's eucalyptus. My parents, when I was growing up, they had this nice little, you know, plant that they had in the corner of the room. Didn't take a lot to take care of it, but it always had this sort of woody, mentholy sort of smell coming out of it. And that's what I'm getting out of this, just a tiny little bit. I mean, it blends well with all those other elements, you know, with the patchouli, with the leather, with the damp, mushroomy earth. To me, there's a very nice underlining tone of ambery musk in this. It's just, it's got density. This is a super, like, grabby, tangible sort of a fragrance. It still has that vaporous sort of, you know, quality that all of these fragrances have to me, but there's just a certain amount of thickness. And you know what I like it thick. But seriously, there is a tangibility to it, and there's just some slightly sweet florals. I think that's geranium that I'm picking up out of this. And man, this one is, this one speaks to me a whole hell of a lot. January Scent Project. Amazing fragrances. Again, this last one, Bervuvu. Bervuvu. Sorry about screwing up the name. That's it. There you go, guys. I hope you enjoy this little house overview. Why don't you go ahead and toss me a comment down below. Let me know some houses that you guys might want me to try out. I'm all about discovery kits. I will pick them up, check them out, test them, let you know what my thoughts are. Thank you for sticking around till the end of this video. Why don't you go ahead and hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you are not already a subscriber. Don't forget to beat the shit out of the notification bell so that you know when I'm dropping future videos just like this one. Hope that you guys are having a great week, great weekend, no matter what it is you're doing, no matter where you're going. Be good to yourself and to each other, and don't forget, keep calm, stink pretty, and we'll see you on the next one.